Welcome everyone to our Gary Sir Law and Life program. The upright and selfless image of Gary Sir has already become legendary in the minds of the public. Of course, when people think of the police, the first thing that comes to mind is public safety. Our audience is very interested in knowing about security, and their biggest concern is home safety. So, I'd like to hear from Gary Sir. With so many years of experience in the force, what home safety tips can you share from this perspective? The audience,
Home security issues usually mean someone managed to break in and commit burglary. But why does it happen? Crimes occur when a triangle forms, consisting of the offender's ability, desire, and victim opportunity. You can't really stop their desire. Thirst leads to water, hunger to food. It's simple, right? Next is ability, like having tools or physical strength. Then there's opportunity. We can all influence this by reducing our risk. Today, let's look at minimizing home burglary risks.
That's really great, because this is actually very practical. Gary Sir isn't just talking about big theories, he's speaking in plain language, giving us tips that everyone can understand and actually put into practice. So, let's get started with our home security project.
So, what exactly is a home burglary? It means when someone enters a property or a house without permission, with the intention to steal something. But even if that person leaves the property or the house without actually taking anything, it's still considered a home burglary. Usually, a home burglary happens through the back door, the front door, or any entrance to the house. Sometimes, they might even smash the glass to get in. So, now that everyone knows what a home burglary is, let me also explain to you how these cases are handled. Remember, in Japanese, burglary is called break and enter, and home invasion is the term used for breaking into a house. What does home invasion mean? It means the perpetrator knows there are people inside the property, but still forcibly enters the house with the intention of stealing valuables. That's what we call a home invasion. Remember, if a home invasion happens, you must call 911 immediately. Why? Because this kind of case is still happening at that moment, but for break and enter cases, they happen after the fact, so you don't need to call 911, you should call the non-emergency number. Of course, depending on where you live, you'll have to call the relevant non-emergency number. For example, in Richmond, it's 604-278-1212. Alright, another thing, some people are curious and will ask, is there a particular time when these incidents happen more often? Let me ask you, Angel, can you tell me which time period tends to have more cases?
No, when people are at home.
Stay alert to prevent break-ins, or even a robbery.
Right?
Let me explain. Usually, break-ins are either residential or commercial. Residential ones mostly happen during the day, because people are out at work, school, or having fun. But at night, though, it's rarer with people home. Commercial sites differ, usually hit at night. So, break-ins follow specific patterns. Peak seasons? Honestly, they happen anytime, but
it's usually a bit more common in the evenings.
yeah, like during Christmas or even last night, because everyone goes out to buy New Year goods or attend parties, so there's no one at home. And
it gets dark.
It gets dark, maybe raining or snowing. In summer, it's extreme and happens often because people travel overseas, which is a common trend, especially in detached houses. Yeah, and you might say it's because you leave all the windows open, of course that matters.
It just makes it easier for them to get in. Basically, you're giving them a chance.
To explain why it's easier to break in, many detached house owners, especially DIY enthusiasts, might fix the plumbing or clean the roof. They often leave ladders at the side of the house, so the thieves,
You're basically giving them a way in, right? You're handing them the ladder as well.
they climb to second floor.
Bang.
They don't even need to break a window. Your window is already open, so they just get in. They just grab a pillowcase, take all your gold, silver, and jewelry, and leave the same way they came in. Then you complain, saying, "Hey, I pay so much every month. How come this year? Hey, that doesn't make sense, right?" The alarm company says there's no sensor in your room, so how would the alarm go off? So sometimes you really need to think it through. You should also put some motion sensors in the master bedroom, and in summer, you need to add them to the windows and doors as well.
Exactly. So it's like, once we understand that triangular relationship, what we need to do is focus on what we can control, which is to reduce the chances of theft.
Each type of crime has its own ways of prevention. For example, to stop your car being stolen, there are specific ways. If you don't want to become, you can avoid being cyberbullied and prevent scams using other methods. Mainly, just don't give others the chance to take advantage of you.
Prevention is always better than cure. Don't wait until something happens and then regret it afterwards.
Also, because of time constraints, I can only share some important tips with everyone. Actually, thieves aren't stupid. Before they commit a crime, they'll test the boundaries, checking which house is easy to break into and which one isn't worth it. What I want to tell everyone is that when away, ask your neighbors, "Hey, can you put my bins out at the usual times?" If thieves think no one's home and see an opening, they'll break in and rob you.
Try an empty city ruse.
Some people buy a new TV, film inside, then wonder why they get burgled 2 weeks later. Of course, you left the box outside for everyone to see. If you get new appliances, just break the packaging into small pieces.
Yeah.
Put it all into the garbage bag, otherwise it's easy for people to notice you've bought new appliances.
Basically, you shouldn't show off your wealth. This has always been the case since ancient times.
Exactly, and of course, back in the day there were occasional arrests, but now not really. Still, every now and then you see those ads, right? The most important thing is, if you're traveling, you should ask your neighbor in advance to help you collect your mail. The whole point is to make it look like someone's home, even if you're just out for a short while at night. Honestly, I always think it's best not to let your mailbox overflow with mail, so that it makes people think someone's actually at home. That's why you shouldn't turn off the TV, just keep the volume a bit lower in Hong Kong, so when someone's outside, it sounds like there's someone inside.
Yeah, because these thieves usually go for the easy targets. We always say, act like you don't care, but actually you do. If you really don't care, then a lot of home security issues will happen.
In France recently, if you see someone loitering with a bike or sitting in a car for a long time, you can call the police. You never know who these people are, they could be scoping out your home. You can call the police, but not via 911. Use the non-emergency line, and they'll send someone to investigate and handle any suspicious activity.
Got it. Well, today I'm really happy because Gary Sir has shared a lot of insider tips, which have really helped us ordinary citizens become much more aware and knowledgeable about how to protect ourselves. So once again, Gary Sir, thank you so much.